Have you ever walked into a room and felt the air change before anyone said a word, or found yourself in tears over a sadness that wasn't yours? If you have, this message is for you. And if you've never been able to explain why you seem to carry the world's emotions on your shoulders, then stay with me, because what we're about to uncover may help you understand something about yourself that no one else has ever put into words. In a world that often glorifies empathy as a soft virtue, something sweet, spiritual, even saintly, there exists a truth much darker, much older, and far more powerful. It's a truth that Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist and mystic of the unconscious, hinted at time and again, that what we call empathy is not always a gift. Sometimes it is a possession. And the empath is not simply someone who feels deeply, but someone who risks being devoured by the shadows they cannot see. You see, today's idea of an empath has been wrapped in glitter and affirmation, an Instagram worthy identity, a spiritual badge. But Jung warned us archetypes are never just metaphors. They are ancient, living energies that can move through us without permission. They animate, seduce, and sometimes swallow us whole. And for the empath, the danger lies in not knowing where their soul ends and another's suffering begins. But don't worry, this isn't a video about victimhood. This is about awakening. Because buried within the confusion of feeling too much, of always being the one who understands, the one who cares, the one who silently carries, it turns out there's a deeper calling. And when we trace that calling through the lens of Carl Jung, through ancient mythology, neuroscience, trauma psychology, even esoteric west down from mystics like Edgar Cayce and Ingo Swann, we begin to see that the empath is not here to suffer. They are here to transform. In the next 30 plus minutes, we will journey far beneath the surface of what you've been told about empathy. We will explore the archetypal traps that bind empaths to pain, the ancestral shadows they unknowingly carry, the spiritual contracts they never meant to sign. We'll uncover how your sensitivity may have roots not only in your childhood and generations past. We'll look at how the nervous system of an empath mirrors collective trauma, how the boundaries of self can dissolve when psychic energy flows in unfiltered, and why empathy, when unconscious, becomes a form of energetic contamination. But here's what almost no one talks about until the very end of this video. There is a way out. Not a disconnection, not a numbing, but a sacred reclamation of your gift. There is a form of empathy that does not drown you, one that does not twist your compassion into martyrdom or turn your love into self-erasure. This form of empathy, conscious, clear, and rooted, is not a sponge but a mirror. And that mirror can show others their truth without losing your own reflection. Throughout this video, I'll share with you stories from real clients, powerful dream imagery from Jung's case studies, indigenous teachings on energetic boundaries, and insights from modern neuropsychology on what actually happens to the brain and body of an empath. You'll hear how children raised in emotionally volatile homes develop intuitive skills that feel supernatural, how ungrieved ancestral wounds pass silently into the bodies of the sensitive, and how what we often call a gift might in truth be an unspoken trauma response dressed in spiritual language. So let me ask you from the beginning, are you truly feeling others, or are you fusing with them? Do you help to heal, or unconsciously carry what is not yours to hold? And most importantly, do you still remember who you were before the world asked you to feel for everyone else first? If even one of those questions resonates, then I invite you to stay all the way through, because the most powerful insight, the one that can truly change how you move through the world as an empath, comes at the very end, and no one talks about it. This isn't just a video. This is a threshold, a descent into what Jung called the individuation process, a sacred path where the empath no longer becomes the emotional landfill of others' pain, but the clear vessel of their own sovereignty. If that sounds like a path worth exploring, then stay with me. And if you're already feeling seen, type 1 in the comments. If you're still unsure, type 0 and let's see where this journey takes you. Because once you see the shadow side of empathy, you can never go back to romanticizing it, but you can go forward into something more true, more free, and far more powerful. Let me ask you something uncomfortable, but necessary. What if your empathy wasn't entirely yours? What if the sadness you've carried since childhood, the ache you feel around people in pain, the way your mood suddenly shifts in crowds, all of it wasn't just because you're sensitive, but because you've been unconsciously trained, even conditioned, to merge. What if the very identity you've built, kind, giving, compassionate, was born not just from love, but from survival? Carl Jung once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." For the empath, this fate can feel like a quiet erosion, like a soul that slowly fades not from lack of love, but from too much love directed outward and too little reclaimed inward. So here's the big question: where do you end and the world begin? It sounds poetic, but it's actually neurological. Modern neuroscience now confirms what mystics have long intuited. The brain of an empath, particularly in highly sensitive individuals, has unique patterns. Their mirror neuron system fires more intensely, meaning they not only sense the emotions of others, they simulate them. In other words, when someone cries near you, your brain lights up as if you are the one grieving. But here's the twist. Without proper boundary encoding in the nervous system, the brain can't always tell the difference between what is yours and what is theirs. Now, combine that with early childhood dynamics, perhaps a parent with unpredictable emotions, or a family where being quiet, kind, and helpful earns safety, and suddenly it is no longer just a trait. It's a strategy. It's how you stayed connected. It's how you felt needed. It's how you survived. But now, you're tired. Tired of feeling everything. Tired of being the one people turn to while no one sees you. Tired of holding emotional space for the world and having none left for yourself. And still you wonder, isn't empathy a gift? Yes, but only when it's conscious. When it's not, it becomes a doorway for shadows to walk through. Jung warned us, archetypes don't play fair. They're not symbolic ideas, but living patterns of psychic energy, ancient, autonomous, and deeply impersonal. If you don't see them, they'll act through you. And for the unconscious empath, the most dangerous archetype is the wounded healer, what mythology calls Chiron. This archetype seduces you with noble illusions, that your value lies in how much pain you can carry, that your purpose is to save others, that being needed is the same as being loved. But the deeper truth is this: when you cannot distinguish between compassion and compulsion, you are no longer helping, you are hosting something. You are hosting their trauma, hosting ancestral grief, hosting emotional ghosts who don't even know they're squatting inside you. Let me give you a real-world image. A client once told me about a recurring dream. She was walking through a garden at night. Each flower she touched wilted instantly, not because she meant harm, but because her hands were soaked in water from too many tears, none of which were hers. In the dream, she kept trying to fix the flowers, but the more she touched, the more they died. That dream wasn't about failure. It was about misplaced empathy. You see, not all pain is meant to be carried. Not all wounds want to be healed. And not every soul is ready to awaken. But here's where things get even more mysterious. Ancient cultures, from the shamans of Siberia to the oracles of Delphi, believed that some people were born as vessels for collective energy. Ingo Swann, one of the pioneers of remote viewing with the CIA, spoke of psychic overlap zones, places where one person's psyche bleeds into another. Empaths, whether by trauma or soul contract, often live in these zones. They become energetic bridges. But a bridge that carries too many travelers eventually collapses. So here's the deeper question I want you to sit with. Has your empathy become your prison? Are you carrying what was never yours to heal? And is there a part of you, secret, silent, that feels important only when someone else is broken? Take a breath. That last one is hard. I know, because I've been there. I've worked with countless clients who had to face this mirror, that behind their giving there was grief, that behind their need to help there was hunger. And that hunger was not for applause or praise, but for meaning. And what more meaningful identity than the one who heals? But here's the paradox. Until you learn to separate your sense of self from others' suffering, you will never truly heal yourself. And without that, your empathy is built on sand. This is where Jung's idea of individuation comes in. To individuate is to become whole. It means stepping out of the archetype and into your authentic center, not rejecting your sensitivity, but integrating it, not fusing with others, but witnessing them with clarity. And when that happens, when the empath no longer bleeds into others, but becomes a clear mirror, everything changes. So let me leave you with this thought before we move on. Empathy is not absorption, it is alchemy. It is not sacrifice, it is strength with presence. It is not the echo of pain, it is the silent flame that illuminates it without being consumed. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper. We'll explore how childhood survival patterns, especially in empaths, form the neural and spiritual blueprint for boundary collapse. We'll look at why being nice often hides suppressed rage, and how reclaiming your anger might be the most spiritual act of all. But for now, I ask you again, where do you end and where does the world begin? That answer might just change everything. Let's step out of theory for a moment and into the living room, into the therapy office, into the kitchen where someone stands wiping dishes but silently absorbing the tension in the air, into your life. Because while we can speak of archetypes, neuroscience, and the unconscious, what does it actually look like to live as an empath in the real world? Let's begin with this. Have you ever left a conversation feeling exhausted, like you ran a marathon, even though you barely said a word? Have you ever cried after being around someone sad, even though nothing happened to you personally? Have you ever felt crazy because your emotions seem to shift with the people around you? That's not just emotion, that's energetic entanglement. And for the unconscious empath, it becomes the invisible architecture of their daily life. The partner who becomes the therapist. Take Lisa, a 42-year-old woman I once worked with. From the outside, she was the ideal partner, nurturing, patient, intuitive. But inside, she was drowning. Her partner struggled with anxiety and unresolved trauma, and over time, Lisa became less of a lover and more of an emotional caretaker. She could sense his moods before he said a word. She knew how to adjust, to calm him, to be safe. But the cost? She stopped expressing her own needs. Her nervous system stayed on alert. Every dinner, every conversation became a silent emotional negotiation. And the hardest part, she thought this meant she was being loving. But what she was really being was invisible. How many of us confuse emotional hypervigilance with compassion? At what point does being there for someone become abandoning yourself? The empathic child who reads the room to survive. Then there's Marcus, age 9, a boy who was always so good, quiet, helpful, sensitive. But what his teachers didn't see was what happened at home, his father's explosive moods, his mother's tears behind closed doors. From a young age, Marcus learned to sense danger before it arrived. He became hyper-attuned to voice tone, body language, silence. It was how he survived. That same sensitivity later got labeled a gift, but it was born from trauma. What does that do to a child's brain? According to trauma specialists like Dr. Gabor Mate, this kind of childhood trains the nervous system into a state of vigilance, an overactive amygdala, a dysregulated vagus nerve. Empaths are not born fragile. They are often forged in the crucible of emotional chaos. Their empathy is a radar system wired not for connection, but for protection. So when we say empaths feel everything, maybe the better question is, what did they have to feel to survive? The therapist who carries too much. One of my colleagues, an excellent therapist, once confessed to me, sometimes I feel more broken after sessions than my clients do. He wasn't being dramatic. After 6 to 8 hours of holding space for others, he'd go home feeling heavy, irritable, disconnected. His own children would ask, "Why are you sad, Dad?" He didn't know how to explain that their sadness wasn't his, but it lived inside him anyway. This is what happens when empathy becomes porous instead of present. Dr. Elaine Aron, the leading researcher on highly sensitive people, HSPs, explains that empaths often have heightened mirror neuron responses, but without strong self-other differentiation, they lose their center. They don't just listen to pain, they inhabit it. And over time, this erodes the boundary between holding space and becoming the space. So here's the real-world tragedy. The more empathic you are, the more likely you are to become codependent. Not because you're weak, but because you mistake emotional enmeshment for love. Have you ever attracted partners, friends, or family members who seem to need you more than they truly see you? This isn't random, it's archetypal. When someone has unresolved pain, they often unconsciously seek out an energetic host, and the empath, open, kind, attuned, becomes the perfect vessel. It's not evil, it's just unconscious. But that unconscious pattern becomes the script for your life. You're the listener, the fixer, the emotional shock absorber. And before you know it, your life isn't your own. It's a constant reaction to everyone else's pain. So, what can we do? First, we must tell the truth. Empathy without discernment is dangerous, not because feeling is wrong, but because absorbing is not the same as understanding. And in relationships, this distinction is everything. Whether it's marriage, parenting, friendship, or professional life, if your empathy makes you disappear, it's no longer compassion, it's self-erasure. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into the inner world of the empath. We'll explore what happens inside the empath's body and soul as they absorb the pain of others. We'll uncover why so many empaths feel confused, anxious, even physically ill, without knowing why. And you'll learn why healing doesn't begin with fixing others, but with separating what is yours from what is not. But before we go there, pause and ask yourself, where in your life have you been the emotional container for others, while no one was holding space for you? When did you start confusing feeling deeply with being responsible for everyone else's pain? And what would happen if just for today, you chose to put down what was never yours to carry? Let me ask you something more personal now. Have you ever felt exhausted after simply being around certain people, like your energy was being drained without a word spoken? Do you ever find yourself shrinking in relationships just to keep the peace? Always smoothing over conflict, always making space for others to feel, but never quite knowing how to express yourself? Have you ever lost track of who you are simply because you've been too busy holding everyone else together? If you whispered yes to any of these, you may already be living the story of the unconscious empath. And you're not alone. Let me tell you about someone. Maybe you'll see a little of yourself in her. Her name is Maya. She's the oldest daughter in a family where emotions were always unspoken, but always present. Her mother rarely smiled. Her father was kind, but absent. So Maya became the glue, the bright one, the one who knew how to cheer everyone up, the one who learned to feel the tension in the room before anyone spoke and soften it with her smile, her silence, her sensitivity. Now in her 30s, Maya is a caregiver by nature and a ghost to herself. She remembers who everyone else needs her to be, but no longer remembers who she really is. Sound familiar? Or maybe you're more like Daniel, a man who always had a feeling about people. He could walk into a room and know who was hurting, even behind a smile. People trusted him immediately, opened up within minutes. At first, he thought this was a gift, until he realized he had no idea how to turn it off. He couldn't sleep at night. His dreams were filled with other people's pain. His relationships felt one-sided. He said to me once, "I don't know where I went. I just became everyone else's story." Both Maya and Daniel are empaths, and like so many of us, their compassion became a costume, a way to be loved, a way to be safe, a way to belong. But it came at a cost. They forgot how to feel without fusing. They forgot how to love without losing themselves. And that's what I want you to reflect on now, not just what you feel for others, but what you've sacrificed in the name of empathy. You see, most people don't wake up one day and say, "I want to be a martyr." But it happens quietly. You hold space. You keep the peace. You listen longer than you should. You say yes when you mean no. You take the phone call at midnight. You feel responsible for someone else's happiness. And suddenly you are no longer in a relationship. You are in an emotional contract that no one signed, but you keep paying the price. What if the part of you that always shows up for others is also the part that's afraid to be alone with yourself? That's not judgment. That's compassion. Because here's the truth that most spiritual communities don't talk about. Empathy can be a trauma response dressed in light. Dr. Judith Orloff, psychiatrist and leading voice on empathic psychology, explains that many empaths come from homes where emotional neglect or inconsistency trained them to read others deeply, not out of love, but out of necessity. You learned early on that your safety depended on knowing how others felt before they told you. In other words, your empathy was once your armor, but armor eventually becomes a cage. So let's pause here. Take a breath and ask yourself gently, when did you first learn that it was safer to feel others than to feel yourself? What did you have to suppress in order to become the good one, the listener, the strong one? And what would happen if for the first time you made space to feel yourself just as deeply as you feel everyone else? Because the truth is, your sensitivity isn't wrong, but it needs structure, it needs sovereignty, it needs the spine to match the heart. Without it, you'll keep attracting the same people: the wounded, the takers, the emotionally unavailable. Not because you're broken, but because your nervous system has been trained to equate emotional labor with love. What if the real healing isn't in helping others feel better, but in helping yourself stop over-functioning in relationships? In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into this pattern. We'll talk about the spiritual confusion that surrounds empathy and how being kind or giving can mask unconscious guilt, unprocessed rage, and generational shame. We'll explore how the empath becomes the wounded healer, not out of choice, but out of conditioning. And we'll begin the descent into shadow, the place where true healing begins. But before that, I invite you to sit with this image: a mirror. You stand before it, but instead of your face, you see the faces of everyone you've ever tried to help, everyone you've ever carried, everyone whose pain lives in your body like it was your own. And somewhere in that reflection, you realize you've forgotten what your own eyes look like. That moment of not recognizing yourself is not the end, it's the beginning of coming back to center, of learning to feel without fusing, to witness without absorbing, to walk in empathy, not as a sponge, but as a sovereign soul. So stay with me, because in chapter 4, we're going to open the door to the shadows behind your gift, the unconscious motives that sneak in through compassion, and the real reason why so many empaths confuse love with pain. What you discover next may be the most liberating truth of all. Let me be honest with you now. What comes next may not feel good, but it will be true. Because to truly awaken as an empath, you must face not only the pain you've carried, but the reason you've carried it. And here's the truth that most won't say out loud. Sometimes we hold on to others' suffering because it gives us a sense of purpose. Sometimes we call it empathy, but deep down, it's a way to feel valuable, needed, even holy. Carl Jung warned us that the shadow is not evil, it's everything we refuse to see in ourselves. And for empaths, one of the most hidden shadows is the identity of the rescuer. Have you ever caught yourself saying, "But if I don't help them, who will?" Or stayed in a relationship far too long because they need me? Or felt a strange, quiet satisfaction in being the only one who understands? This is the seduction of the archetype. In mythology, the wounded healer, Chiron, was a being who could heal others but not himself. This image has echoed through the collective psyche for centuries, and many empaths unconsciously live it out. They become the emotional nursemaid, the psychic sponge, the safe space for the brokenness of others, while slowly eroding from within. But here's the devastating twist. The more you identify as the healer, the less you are allowed to be human. The more you become the container for everyone else's pain, the less space you leave for your own. What if the selfless version of you is actually a mask? A way to avoid the terrifying question, who am I if I'm not fixing someone? I once worked with a client, Emily. On the surface, she was a deeply compassionate soul, always helping, always showing up, always the one people leaned on. But she came to me on the edge of burnout. Her body was inflamed. She couldn't sleep. Her joy had vanished. After months of peeling back the layers, we uncovered something buried in her subconscious, a belief inherited from generations of women in her family that love is earned through suffering, that her worth was measured by how much she could endure without asking anything in return. Her empathy wasn't a gift. It was a compulsion built on ancestral pain. And neuroscience backs this up. According to Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, author of The Body Keeps the Score, trauma, especially intergenerational trauma, gets encoded in the nervous system. Unresolved grief, shame, or guilt from previous generations doesn't disappear. It expresses itself through the body and behavior of the next. And empaths are often the ones who feel what their ancestors never got to express. So ask yourself, whose emotions are you really carrying? Are they even yours? Or are they the echoes of someone else's suffering, passed down, unspoken, ungrieved? Carl Jung believed that the unconscious will project itself into the world until it is made conscious. So when you're drawn again and again to the same kinds of people, the broken, the volatile, the emotionally unavailable, it's not just bad luck, it's your psyche trying to resolve an old pattern. But here's the danger. If you do not become conscious of that pattern, it becomes your identity. And worse, it becomes your prison. Have you confused emotional entanglement with love? Compassion with control? giving with avoidance of your own pain? These are hard questions, but they are the right questions. Because here's another hidden truth. Sometimes the empath helps others, not out of pure love, but to avoid looking inward. It's easier to feel someone else's sadness than to face your own rage. It's easier to comfort a friend than to admit your own loneliness. It's easier to say I'm just an empath than to ask, why am I always drawn to pain? Let that land, because this is the turning point. In spiritual psychology, this is known as the shadow gift. It's the point where your greatest light, your sensitivity, your compassion becomes entangled with your deepest wound. And unless you separate the two, you will keep mistaking your wound for your calling. But now you're waking up. You are beginning to see that empathy is not a virtue if it becomes self-erasure, that helping is not always holy, and that true healing begins when you stop sacrificing yourself on the altar of someone else's pain. So what now? In the next chapter, we'll descend even deeper into the nervous system, the unconscious, and the ancestral field. We'll explore why some empaths feel chronically ill, inflamed, or fatigued, despite appearing fine. We'll talk about the soul contracts you never meant to sign, why your body is the place where generations of suffering come to live, and most importantly, we'll begin to build the foundation of healthy boundaries, not as walls, but as sacred containers for your energy, your soul, and your truth. But before we go there, let me leave you with this image. You're standing in front of a fire. In your hands, a bowl filled with tears. Not just yours, but your mother's, your grandmother's, your lovers, your friends. For years, you've carried it, thinking it was noble. But now, as the flames flicker, you realize you have the power to put the bowl down, to honor their stories without making them your own, to feel the ache without becoming the wound, to witness the pain without absorbing the fire. And maybe for the first time, you see yourself not as a sponge, not as a martyr, but as a vessel, a soul. And that changes everything. So now you see it, the shadow behind the gift, the hidden cost of feeling too much, too often, too deeply. And if you're still here, it means you're ready, not just to understand your empathy, but to transform it. Because here's the good news. Empathy is not your curse, it's your initiatory path, but only if you walk it consciously. Carl Jung called this path individuation, the process of becoming whole, not perfect, not pleasing, but whole. And for the empath, individuation means this: learning to feel without fusing, witnessing suffering without hosting it, loving others deeply without abandoning yourself. So how do we begin? It starts with one word: boundaries, not walls, not shutdown, but energetic membranes, soul containers. Dr. Thema Bryant, trauma psychologist and ordained minister, says, boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and still love myself. And for the empath, learning this distance is sacred work, because for too long you've equated closeness with merging, and now it's time to reclaim your edges. Daily self-clearing ritual every or evening, find 5 quiet minutes. Sit still, place your hand over your heart and ask, what energy am I carrying that is not mine? Breathe. Visualize a gentle golden light scanning through your body, gathering energy that doesn't belong to you. When you're ready, exhale and imagine releasing it back into the earth, the air, or the hands of the divine. Do this every day. Let it become your energetic hygiene. You brush your teeth every morning, but have you ever cleared your soul? The empath's 3 questions. Whenever you feel overwhelmed by emotion, pause and ask. 1. Is this feeling mine? 2. Where did it enter? Through a person, a space, a memory? 3. What is this emotion asking me to do or become? You'll be surprised how often the answer to number 1 is no. That's not detachment, that's discernment, and discernment is the empath's sword. Build the sacred no. Many empaths fear that saying no means being unkind. But the truth is, saying no can be the most loving act you perform for yourself and for the other. Because when you say yes to everything, you become resentful, hollow, depleted. When you say no with love, you protect your gift. So start small. Say no to conversations that leave you drained. Say no to being the emotional dumping ground. Say no to guilt disguised as love. Because every time you say no to what wounds you, you say yes to your soul. What if your healing doesn't begin with more compassion, but with one honest boundary? Dream work for the empath believed that the unconscious speaks in dreams, and that archetypes appear most vividly in the dreamscape. Keep a notebook by your bed. When you wake up, record anything you remember, no matter how strange or symbolic. Then ask, what part of me is speaking here? Over time, patterns will emerge: a weeping child, a flooded house, a mirror without a reflection. These are messages, not from the outside world, but from your own soul, and your soul is wise beyond measure. Consciously witness pain without absorbing it. Next time someone opens up to you, pause. Before responding, silently say to yourself, I am here. I see you, but I do not become you. This simple sentence can rewire your entire empathic system. It reminds your nervous system that love does not require fusion, that presence is enough. Now, let me be clear. This is not a quick fix. You're not here to solve your empathy. You're here to alchemize it. And that takes time, that takes patience, that takes forgiveness for yourself, for your family, for the years you spent carrying what was never yours to hold. But if you walk this path, if you show up for your own center as fiercely as you've shown up for others, something miraculous begins to happen. Your empathy transforms from a sponge into a mirror, from a weight into a flame, from a wound into wisdom. You stop rescuing and start reflecting. You start illuminating. You stop drowning and begin to rise. And as you rise, whole, rooted, clear, those around you begin to shift too. Because healing isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just you, quietly returning to yourself. One sacred no at a time. One boundary. One breath. What if your greatest gift was never your ability to feel others, but your ability to stay true to yourself while doing so? In the next and final chapter, we'll bring all of this together. We'll talk about the deeper meaning behind your sensitivity, what it truly means to walk the world as a conscious empath. You'll hear the final vision Carl Jung held for the individuated soul. You'll be reminded that you are not here to carry the world's pain. You are here to carry yourself with such fierce integrity that the world remembers how to carry itself. Stay with me, because what comes next is the moment your gift becomes your power. If you've made it this far, take a moment, not to rush forward, but to feel the stillness of what has just moved through you. This wasn't just a video, this was a remembering of the part of you that always knew deep down that your sensitivity was never weakness, that your ability to feel wasn't a flaw, but that somewhere along the way, the world forgot how to hold your gift. And so you learned to hold it alone, but not anymore. You've walked through every chapter of this journey, from the seduction of the wounded healer to the ancestral grief hiding in your nervous system, to the quiet realization that empathy without boundaries is slow self-erasure. And now you stand at the threshold, not of more pain, but of power, not of martyrdom, but of meaning. Because the truth is, you were never here to rescue others. You were here to remind them, to mirror back the wholeness they forgot. And in doing so, to finally remember your own. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And you, dear empath, are no longer here to be consumed by the world's wounds. You are here to be conscious in how you carry them, to choose what is yours, to release what is not, to feel with discernment, to give with rootedness, to love without losing yourself. So now I ask you, Yacht, what will you do with what you felt today? What part of you is ready to return home to your own center after years of living in the echoes of others? And what would it mean to honor your gift? Not through sacrifice, but through sovereignty. You are not a sponge. You are not a martyr. You are not a storage room for generational sorrow or unspoken shame. You are a living threshold, a place where empathy becomes insight, where feeling becomes wisdom, where pain is not absorbed but witnessed and then transformed. And from that place, you no longer disappear, you reappear, rooted, whole, awake. So if this message has touched something real inside you, if you've seen your own story reflected here, I invite you to share this video with someone you love, with someone who's always felt too much, too deeply, too invisibly. Let them know they're not broken, they're becoming. And if this journey resonated with you, leave a comment below. Type 1 if this opens your eyes. Type 0 to know if you're still processing, still sitting in the questions. Or share in your own words, what part of your empathy are you ready to reclaim? Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you want more soul-deep conversations like this. We explore not just healing, but remembering, not just growth, but integration, because this is not about becoming someone new. It's about finally coming home to who you've always been. You are not here to carry the world. You are here to carry yourself with such radiant integrity that the world remembers how to carry itself. And that is the true power of the awakened empath.